welcome back. So today on this video I'm going to be showing you, going over the Caddie system that I've been somewhat developing over the last few, probably just over the last year. I've been developing a little bit farther in depth. So you bushcraft people, you might find this interesting because that's where this all started. Now, I originally picked up this idea from another YouTuber called the Really Big Monkey, and he actually, I've watched several of his videos, and he is actually the guy that I originally decided to buy this setup but he pointed me in this direction to go ahead and get in this set and be using it. And he also gave me the idea of what he does is using paracord as a Caddie system for a smaller knife to carry around with a big knife. Now, I like this idea really good, so much so to where I decided to start developing my own ideas with it. And if you guys know my channel, I do a lot of leather stuff, and of course a bunch of other things. I mean, it's in the name, Backroad Hobbies, so multiple things. So you saw this, and using the paracord. Now let me elaborate a little bit more on this. I'm not dogging on his design on this at all. This is what he had preferred, and so I went ahead and went with it in the sense of just simply getting this bush oar, this Condor bush oar, paired up with the Village Parang from Condor, and so I went ahead and went with it. So this was just something that I was easily able to do and decided to run with it. Now, if you guys have seen some of my other knife review videos, I don't know where this is going to land. I don't know if this is going to be in my knife playlist or my leather playlist. It'll probably end up being there. But if you've seen my other knife review videos, some of these knives will be familiar to you. So this one here is one of my other designs. This is the Mossy Oak, Ozark Trails, what they call the mini machete, and it is paired with their Ozark Trails little 9-inch, I think it is, drop point, 8-inch drop point with the serrated edge. This set I don't really like too much, but I have implemented the Velcro wrap on this one. As you can see, it is wrapped here. Let me go ahead and get this one off here. Okay, so this comes off, and I wanted to do it this way so I could be able to take one off and be able to put it onto another somewhat easy. That way I could interchange the knives and mismatch them however I wanted to do it. And the more I dealt with this Velcro and putting it onto the nylon sheaths, the more I didn't like the setup. But I'll show you some of my other ones I have. Now you can see it just simply wraps around the back and keeps it on there. Now this was intentional because it'll always be against you. The back side of the sheath will always be against you, so it'll be less likely that it will actually come off. It'll grab like a limb or something as you're going through the woods, or just simply anywhere for that matter. It won't just simply grab a hold and rip off, and then next thing you know, you lost your knife. So I had always put the Velcro, the tail of the Velcro, on the back. Now, yes, it will have the chance of grabbing a hold of your pants and still come off, but you'll be able to hear the of it. rather well or be able to feel it, something. I've never had an issue with this system, and just like this one, this is my Camillus. I fail to remember how to pronounce that name, I'm sorry, but this is the Camillus Kukri, and when I messed up, it is a cheaper brand, I get it, but when you're on limited money, you get what you get. And it is paired with the Camillus 9-inch drop point, and it is also the Velcro system. Now on this one, since this is a split sheath just like the Parang, I took the edge of it. Let me go ahead and take this out here. I went ahead and, you know what, I'm gonna turn this little light on and use it, because I got a feeling you can't see it real well. Sorry for the glare in my glasses if there is, but I'm gonna try to make this a little bit easier on you guys. Now, as you can see, I got it lipped inside here, and that way it had a little bit extra to grab, and that was my starting point. I had, what, did I hot glue that, or I think I hot glued that in there. Either hot glued it or stitched it. I don't have a hand stitch it. I don't have a sewing machine that's strong enough to do this yet, so that's why that's why I was using hot glue. I just don't have a sewing machine strong enough to do it yet. But so I started the loop in the back here and ended on the back as well. That's critical, having it on the back whenever you're dealing with Velcro. This one, like I said, it comes off from the back, Velcroed from the back, and you can see if I can get this in here. You can just simply pull it out. And this one, oh, this one I looped. Sometimes I also have it Velcroed at the toe, so quit flopping. But sometimes with these sheaths that come with it, you have to fold the sheath loop over in order to make this work. Because like on this one, this particular one, this would have interfered, as you can see the loop here, it would have interfered with the snap for the kukri, so I had to fold it over for this. So keep that in mind as well if you ever go with this design. And like I said, this has worked for me fairly well. I have been carrying these knives frequently in the past. I haven't so much because I've been favoring one set that I haven't shown yet. So, and like I said, all of these are interchangeable. So you can take like this drop point, this Camillus drop point, put it on the mini machete, and take that little Ozark Trail, put it on the old timer. This is the same setup here, and put it on here, or vice versa. This mismatch, it's just, it gives you the availability to change around and be able to mix and match your knives to the way that you want. Now, my newest design, and the way I'm going to be doing the Parang tonight, is the way I'm about to show you. I've already started this design on two of my sheaths, and I may have shown this in one of my leather videos, but I don't remember. Here, I'm gonna shut this off. So if there's a little bit of redundancy here, I'm sorry, but I just wanted to get this video going and show you the reasoning of all this. So this one here is my RH-36 World War II era knife, and it is paired up with my larger tracker knife. This one's a Damascus I don't know the maker. I don't know the actual name of this, but this is a tan-toed tracker knife. That's the best I can give you on the name. The tan-toe being the style of the tip, and the tracker being this add-on down here, the knockback. This is known to me as a tan-toed tracker knife. And I have also have what I'm calling the secondary old timer. It's an old timer to me. This is an old Bowie knife. I don't know the name of it, but it's a or buck knife, whichever. Bowie, buck. They're generic names to me. They're generic names. They're tossed around freely between the two, so I know there's a difference to the knife community. There's a difference between a buck and a Bowie. I fail to remember the exact details between the two, but I know there's a difference, guys, so don't come at me. This one is, like I said, this one, an old barn find. It is paired up with the little Camelus Skinner, I guess. So Camelus Western knife. This one I have rehandled. I've got a video of it as well, and a bit of me putting the handle on there and everything, and making the sheath for it and all. Now, to this style of Caddie knife, like I said, this is what I'm calling the Caddie system. Now, with this, you just simply pop the two rivets, not rivets, pop the two snaps. You just slide it off. Pop off the other one, slide it out. Put it on your other one. Snap it back in, and you got it changed out. It's a pretty easy system. Very easy to do. Very easy to interchange. I've been carrying this system, this Caddie system, for a while now. I haven't really had much of an issue. The only issue has been of this catching just so to where it pops the snaps. Yes, I know that was an original possible flaw of this design, but it all comes down to the quality of the snaps. These particular snaps here are from Caddie Leather Company. They have done me very well in the past. Yes, they do wear out over time, and you may have to replace them. But your cheaper snaps like these ones, these will not hold. I think I only spent like $2 on this kit. These will not hold because they were on this set. That's the other set. This one here was the original test run, and these snaps worked so poorly that I changed them out for the Caddie leather ones. And those ones just constantly, it just barely grabbed it and snapped off. These, it takes quite a bit to knock it, to unsnap it. So the quality of the snaps are key whenever you're doing this system. Now, another point I was wanting to make with this, before I actually get to the grunt of this, is like this. The Caddie system opens up a large variety of options for you to be able to do, and not just an extra knife. Now this is where some of you bushcrafters might find it interesting. This here is my pouch for my larger ferrule rod, my 1/2 inch ferrule rod. I also have a magnesium bar and striker in here. And for those who don't want to carry it in their bags, or more or less the hikers of the crowd might find this a lot more appeasing. Because if you're just going to be out for a night or something and you want to carry your ferro rod easier, this opens up that option without having to put it in your bag. And you can just simply put it on there, snap it into place, and there you go. Now you can carry your ferro rod. Now that's if you have a similar setup as this. So like I said, that gives you the option. Now like I said, I haven't had much of an issue with this system. You may find it if you wind up doing it this way. You may not. So it just depends from person to person, depends on your preference. You might want to go ahead and do the Velcro. It's up to you. So I'm going to go ahead and sort of show you guys how I do this, how I make this leather system. And because I plan on doing it with my parang and my bush lore. So I already started prefabbing items. This here, this little strap, is a 3-inch long by 1 3/4 inch tall. So this is your standard belt, is about 1 1/4 inches high, but you always want to go about 1/2 inch higher for your sheaths. Oh, as a sheath maker, you always want to go about 1/2 inch more than what your standard, what your typical belts are. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead, that's all I went ahead and did. So, and 3 inches gives you your stitch line and room for your rivets, and this bit here is just enough for your sheath. And as you can see here, oh, your loop, I should say, your belt loop. So as you can see here, it gives you just enough room for both. It'll keep it tight, moderately tight to your sheath. So let me go ahead and get this turned around, go ahead and get this going and go from there. Now, looking at this is going to be pretty daggum close to this rivet here, this secondary one, secondary strap here. I'm not terribly worried about it because I have not used this strap since I have had this knife. Like I had this machete, so I'm not terribly worried about it. This upper one does just fine. So what I'm going to do about this, I don't know. I may just cut it off. I have not decided yet. But this here is just going to act as a spacer down in here, and that way it still maintains the space and still works pretty well, because I don't want to pinch this off and wind up not be able to allow the parang to be able to come in and out still. As you saw, the paracord came clear up to here anyhow, and I was still able to pull the parang in and out, and that was with this pinched. So I know adding a spacer will still inhibit me to still be able to pull the machete out. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this out of here. Go ahead and get it roughed in, because I plan on butting it straight up to this, well, almost straight up to that. Now whenever you do this, if you decide to do it this way, you want to have your snaps on the opposite side of the direction that you'll be carrying this. So if you carry this on your left hip, you want to have the snaps to the opposite side. If you carry it on your right side of your hip, you want it like this. You want the threads on this side, snaps on this side. If you carry it on your left, you'll have the stitch on this side, snaps on this side. That way that eliminates the, it helps keep the chances of this grabbing a hold of something and popping the snaps down. It helps keep the chances of that happening down quite a bit. That's the reason of the way I had done it. So keep that in mind if you ever decide to do it this way. Now I also need to go ahead and, there it is. Since this is going to be up here near the top, I need to kind of line this up and get my snaps marked back here so I can go ahead and put those in there. Barely see it. I sure hope this reaches back there. If not, I'm gonna have to use my drill. Nope, this ain't gonna reach. So, alright, I'll go ahead and cut it here real quick and go ahead and run it with my drill, and I'll go ahead and knock it out with my drill. That way, because I can't just simply throw this in there. So I'm going to go ahead and use the parang as my backer for this, for the studs, and be able to compress these center pins of these snaps. This is just simply a 1-ton press here, arbor press. So, and it's been modified just for stuff like this. Because it's a lot easier than trying to bang these out with a hammer. As long as you get the feel for it, you can just about do it several times quicker. Just like that. 2 of them's knocked out. So here's this in place. You can see how it pretty well lines out. I think the stems on this rolled a little bit away because of the bevel on the parang, but it is what it is. It didn't do it too bad. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this in there and stitch it up. Of course, hand stitch, and show you guys how it looks whenever it's done, because I do plan on gluing this in. Usually 9 times out of 10, glue is your best friend whenever it comes to leather, because it has a lot better chance of just holding on and everything. I do plan on putting rivets at each end of this and just the top end of this, just because, I mean, it is what it is. Alright, so it is completed, and snaps out real well, comes out just fine. Go back in. Only thing I've noticed is I think I made this spacer a little bit too wide, because now it is harder than snot to pull this out. So whenever you go to modify this, if you do, make sure you give yourself enough room. And like I said, it does. I may end up just setting this in here and letting it stretch more or less. I know pulling this in and out, it will break it in more. So whenever you do this, do keep that in mind and go about it that way. So like I said, we all make mistakes. So I thought I made it narrow enough, but obviously I didn't. But it is what it is. I'll let this sit here and stretch out, and hopefully the snaps will allow it to stretch a little bit, and go from there. And I know after a while of breaking this in myself by pulling the machete in and out of the sheath, it will go ahead and break in that way. But I mean, once you get it in there, it goes in pretty well. It's just right at that very tippity top. I may have put this in a little bit too high, which is causing this. So I ain't terribly worried. After breaking it in a little bit, it'll be just perfectly fine. So that's how I go about doing this. And that's what I call the Caddie system. And it's very simple, very easy. You can modify your other sheaths. Do it this way or with that nylon strap and the Velcro. It does work both ways. I started in thinking someone might say this in the comments down below, which ain't gonna bother me any. But what I should have went ahead and did here for the spacer, go ahead and put in a loop for a ferro rod. And I should have went ahead and thought about that ahead of time, because I didn't get the bush roller with the ferro rod. But I should have went ahead and put a loop here for one. And I currently don't have one directly available. I can scalp one off of another sheath, but another knife set. But it's it's different story. So yeah, I should have went ahead and put a loop here for one of those little 3/8 ferro rods. So I just went ahead and went with a regular piece just to get by for now. I may come back later and go ahead and do just that and go about it that way. It'll be easy for me to go ahead and replace all of this. This doesn't take very long. I mean, as you saw, this only took a few minutes of actual work. I know I did a whole lot of talking, but it is what it is. So now we'll go ahead and jump to the video verse. Now, this is we are in 1 John chapter 5, verses 1 through 4. And it says, everyone who believes that Jesus is the Christ has been born of God. And everyone who loves the Father also loves the one born of him. This is how we know that we love God's children, when we love God and obey his commands. For this is what love for God is, to keep his commands, and his commands are not a burden. Because everyone who has been born of God conquers the world. This is the victory that has conquered the world, our faith. It was 1 John chapter 5, verses 1 through 4. And I'll see you guys in the next one.